All right, everyone, welcome back for another episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Tuesday, December 14th, 2021. Markets all over the map today. Gap down, nice little rally here, tried to get back to the flat line, couldn't do it, flush. And you see what happens when Apple doesn't participate, finally. We take a look here at the trend line on the daily. Talked about this recently. As this pulls up, there we go. So going back to July of last year, really nice little trend line, and boom, 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 gapped above. Well, didn't gap above it, but we gapped above it yesterday. But we, traded through it Friday, gapped above it yesterday, and then reversed. So that trend line doing its job there. And a lot of the time, when you see, a stock is really extended, has a lot of momentum, it'll actually blast through a resistance area if it's got enough momentum behind it. But the more extended it is going into that resistance, the more likely it is to snap back. And that's what we're seeing here on Apple. So markets losing Apple, and you see what happens. But coming off the lows here all over the map, a couple of things. So obviously the Fed is tomorrow. So really what this says to me, what they're trying to do here is, A, they're trying to burn out premium. It is quad witch OPEX week, so there's going to be a lot of call burning, a lot of put burning, etc. And it's really just trying to confuse people. I haven't really done anything today trade-wise. We're just kind of waiting on the Fed here. Let the institutions bounce the market around. Let them do whatever they're going to do, and we'll just wait for the Fed. Couple things here, though. NVIDIA, we talked about this yesterday. NVIDIA and AMD both hitting that 50 MA. I said yesterday it's probably going to have to go down and test that. That happened today, and it's getting a little bit of a bounce off of that. You can see it also kind of coincides with this gap window here in this green bar low. Nice little kiss of that area. Rallied up, then kind of faded a little bit, so it did show some weakness, but it is getting back to the highs here. You see the same thing on AMD. So that has to go down to the 50 as well. That's where it went, gap below it. Now you're getting a little bit of a pop off of that. So AMD and NVIDIA helping the semiconductors here. Although, semiconductors are down over 0.5% now on the day. So a little bit of weakness here. And again, I always tell you guys, watch the semis. So if the semis start to break down, that is going to be a big negative for the market overall. Also, Tesla coming out, Elon Musk saying that they will accept Dogecoin as payment now. So Dogecoin got like a 30% pop or something today. That did not really extend to all of crypto. As you can see, Bitcoin up 2.5% here. Nice little pop there for Bitcoin off the lows of yesterday, but nothing crazy. So that just Dogecoin really related. Tesla was trading below this gap window here earlier, but if we look on the intraday, you can see getting a nice little bid here in the final hour. There's about 15 minutes left in the trading day here. But Tesla looks like it's going to hold this area for now. If it loses that, I don't really know. You'll have some support at 900. I don't know how good support that is going to be now, as you've already kind of come down. You've hit this, you went up, you hit it. So if we come up and make a lower high, 900 will still be support. You'd have the 100 moving average there. But it's kind of minor, because you've hung out in this area so much recently. That support area is probably weakened a little bit. You do have the 20-week moving average in this area as well, so that will also help. But the longer it hangs out in this area, in this range, especially if it starts going sideways and chopping, it's telling you it wants to build a base to push through that. So just be aware of that there on Tesla. As far as everything else is concerned, did notice some weakness in financials. I've been talking about that recently. Look at JP Morgan here. So you have a head and shoulder on JP Morgan, and that is, it has closed below the 200-day moving average a couple of times over the last couple of weeks here. So that is showing some weakness, and JP Morgan is, one of the leading financial stocks here, really to watch. It's a money center bank and an investment bank, so it's a good gauge of the financial sector. I always keep an eye on JP Morgan. I actually like it better than the XLF, because the XLF has the credit card companies in there. But JP Morgan looking a little weak here. It's kind of fighting with that 200 MA, and it looks like it could be putting in a bear base here. So be on guard for that. Goldman also flirting with that 200 MA. This is a possible head and shoulder here as well. So if that breaks that 200 MA, that is in play, and that target would be the 426 here. So 50, yeah, so you'd be going down to about 325 there on Goldman. So that would take you right into this chop area there on Goldman if that were to trigger. But in the meantime, we talked about this kind of ABC pattern on a lot of charts. You see it on the XLF as well. So, possible up move, pullback, and then maybe another rally, possibly into gap fill there. if we get a pop off of the Fed tomorrow or something like that. Same thing really on the IWM, although the IWM has been really weak. We've been talking about this as well. Really just kind of getting into double bottom here. And that doesn't mean, again, I still think it's pretty oversold. I think it's due for a nice little bid here, but man, the IWM's not showing a lot of strength here. If you look on the weekly, again, you know, that's not an inspiring candle. Last week closed below this trend line and now testing the lows again. In fact, the NASDAQ 100, also another, you know, laggard right now, that actually at one point, it is off the lows now, but if we look on the weekly, that actually almost erased all of last, actually did erase all of last week's gains at one point today. So NASDAQ 100 lagging, and, you know, this is what we've been talking about. As soon as this market loses Apple, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for this market. But I do think the NASDAQ 100 still has put in the top for the year. I continue to say that. Now, I think possibly the SPY, SPX, whatever, and the Diamond may make a new nominal high. But I'm still kind of in the camp that tech is topped out. And as far as tomorrow, we're going to see, you know, it depends on, I'm expecting fully, you know, and this is just my, you know, kind of hypothesis, I guess, but I'm expecting sort of a, you know, the Fed to be online with expected, you know, tapering. They said that they're expected to increase tapering up to 30 billion. So I think that probably happens. And I think the market pops off of it. But what will be key is how much does it pop? Does it take out yesterday's low, you know, on a closing basis? Triple Q's here, the SPY. Can we take out today's high on the SPY tomorrow? Can we close above this area? That's going to be very telling as far as the strength of this market and where we're going moving forward. So that's what we need to keep an eye on. Anyways, let's move over to a few other sectors here. So take a look at crude oil. Again, kind of this ABC pattern potentially forming here. So we have the move down, and then you have the up, and then now you're consolidating. Again, I think you can probably go up and attack that 75 handle. And again, if you get through that, it's 77, and then you'd really have a lot of resistance up here at 78 with this 50 MA and this red bar high. That's where you broke down, and that is where resistance will be. If you get through those other levels. Nat gas coming off the lows, but showing a little bit of weakness here. It did come down and kind of test the lows of last week. Didn't quite get there, but off the lows a little bit now. But again, nat gas is looking a little weak. I think this is setting up for a move lower, and we will look to play that again in the near future if it gets to our level there. Another area I want to talk about is uranium. So this one's flirting. I've been talking to you guys about this. That 75 handle, so it's looking like it's going to lose that 75 handle now. It has been down several days in a row. It is OPEX week. There is a lot of games that go on. Maybe it holds the 200 MA. You're going to have some support, you know, at 71, this previous all-time high, this candle here. But you already kind of tested it, and now you're making a lower low, so that's not a great sign. What you want to see here, if on the URNM, is you want to see a rally up, and you want to see it take out this pivot high. So if you can make a higher high, greater than 84.05, then you know it's in a little bit better shape. But right now, I'd be very careful of this making a lower high. So if this goes up and hits the 20 MA around 80 and starts to trade back down, it probably wants to go back down to 60. So uranium looking a little soft here. Gold also looking soft today, but this is kind of we're ahead of the Fed. So who knows what they're going to say? Who knows what gold can move really heavily off of the Fed, and we've seen that happen before, obviously, and there's really no way to know what they're going to say. I just think that they're probably going to continue with what's expected, which is the 30 billion taper. So that would be the increased taper, and the reason why I believe that is Jay Powell knew about the new variant when he suggested an accelerated taper. So it's not like he's using that as an excuse. So there's a good basis to the Fed actually, holding up and doing the additional taper. So there is that to be said. Silver, let's take a quick look here. Again, weak, making lower lows here. It is kind of oversold, though. I will give it that. And again, going into a quad witch, maybe it trades down, and then maybe it gets a pop next week after the options expire. So it's tough to say. Is this really where they want it, or is this where they want it in the short term? Let's look at the dollar index. Again, dollar doing more backing and filling, although it did get a really nice pop it was up nicely this morning, and then it got another juice in the afternoon if you look on the intraday. So it had a nice rally here and then pulled back, and then another follow-through rally there. Taking a look back here on the daily, you can see it kind of had this triangular pattern starting to creep above that. So dollar may be looking to push a little bit here. I still think it's a little premature, but you know, 1, 2, 3 bars of pullback, so 3 weeks pullback, you know, it could break out here. Again, you guys know my upside target's 98, 99, somewhere in that range. I think it probably gets up to 99, honestly, there on the dollar index. Let's take a look at yields. 10-year, a little bit higher today. Pull up the daily there. Yep, so just again, this kind of ABC move up, you know, move down, pull back. The 30-year I actually like a little bit better here on the yield here. This is a much crisper pattern. It is holding the green bar low there. He closed above that. So that I do think is setting up to make a move higher over the next couple of weeks here. So we'll just keep watching that. Overall, again, just to kind of recap everything, you know, really the important thing to watch for here is, you know, semiconductors. If semiconductors start to break down, that is a negative. Financials break down, that is a negative. And we're going to watch the Fed. If it, you know, really just watch the range, just simplify the charts when it comes, because you know the algos are going to do something tomorrow. You know they're going to go and do one of these crazy pops, or they're going to do a crazy sell-off, but keep it simple. So do we take out the low from today, or do we take out the high, or do we close above this? Do we close above the, or do we close below the gap fill tomorrow on a move down? That's going to tell you where the market is going. So that's how you eliminate the noise. Just simplify it. Do we make a higher high? Do we make a higher low, etc.? Anyways, guys, take care. I was going to do a stream later today at 4:30. I probably will push that to tomorrow. I've got a few things to take care of. But tomorrow I am free all afternoon, and it'll be after the Fed, so it'll probably be a little bit better to do it tomorrow anyway. But anyways, guys, like, comment, subscribe, etc. Come check me out on Patreon. And you guys have a great rest of your day, and take care.